Hi, I'm Eric with Ultimate Support here at the NAMM 2014 show. We've got a new product that we're really excited about. It's acoustic foam, but acoustic foam done ultimate way. And so there's a couple of things that I want to tell you about. There's some myths with acoustic foam that a lot of people aren't aware of. One of those myths is that when you see foam that's cut into like a wedge shape or a diamond shape, that shape of the foam is somehow important to the acoustic absorption. And the fact is, it doesn't matter at all. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the performance of the foam. And the reason is that the foam is so soft that when sound goes in there, it doesn't bounce around or reflect or get deflected. It just goes into the foam. So what you actually need is you need more foam, not less foam. And when you cut the foam like this, you have less foam. The reason that happens actually is because manufacturers, when they cut it that way, they can nest the foam and save on shipping. It means that shipping costs less. But that's why we have foam that's solid on the face of it, so it's more foam, so it absorbs more. That's the first thing we do. The second thing we do is we have this perforated membrane on our foam. And that perforated membrane more than doubles the performance of the foam for absorbing low frequencies, like 500 hertz and below. And those are the frequencies that you're trying to control in your space and try and get rid of. So a 2-inch piece of our foam with that membrane on it is going to do at least as well as 4 inches or more of a foam that doesn't have that on it. And then the other thing that we do is we give you some mounting options. A really cool way of mounting foam to the wall, because we all know you take foam and you put the adhesive on it and you stick it to the wall and it's fine, but if you have to ever move it, it destroys the foam when you take it off and it destroys the wall's all covered with goo. So what we have is a mounting option where there's a plastic frame that goes on the back of the foam, and it has a receiver cup that you screw to the wall with one screw, and then on the 4 corners of the foam, there's some little plastic tabbies that stick to the wall with poster adhesive. And they're magnetic, and they connect to these standoffs on the foam, and the piece of foam just clicks on, clicks off, click on, click off. So you can move it around, rearrange it, and when you're done with the foam and you want to move on, you take out that one screw and you just have one small hole like you would with a picture frame. But the real advantage to that is that by moving the foam away from the wall and creating a space behind it, we double the performance in the low range again. So you get quadruple the benefit in the low frequencies with 2 inches of foam than you would with anything other standard deployment. So the last thing then about our foam is the last myth of acoustical treatment is that what you want to do is just put foam all the way around your room and make it dead. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want a dead room. What you want is a controlled room. You want the sound in your room to be tuned. And so we give you both options. We give you the foam that has the membrane on the front and the foam that is naked, and you put the naked foam in the front near where your speakers are and the membrane foam in the back to absorb the bass. But this membrane actually reflects the high frequencies a little bit in a controlled way, which is what you want. So in the rear of the room, you have a little bit of reflection of the high frequencies, so your room has just the right amount of liveness, but it also soaks up the low frequencies so that the room is controlled. So to manage that and figure out where do I put all those different kinds of pieces of foam, we have an app for that. So when you start out, you go and you say, oh, I've got a new room. And you can choose what kind of room it is, if it's a project studio or a home theater or whatever it is. And then you can enter the dimensions of the room and what's on the floor and how high are the ceilings. And then you can go and one wall at a time, you can choose your furnishings, picture hanging on the wall, couches, windows, whatever. You move them around and lay them out the way that your room is. You go through and do that for each of your 4 walls. And then when you're done, you say calculate. And it'll come up with a recommended deployment of foam, of how many pieces you need to buy if you want 40% coverage, and then you can up that if you want more coverage and it'll recalculate, or if you need less coverage, you bring that number down and it'll recalculate for whatever level of coverage you want. And then the app puts all this data out as an email that'll email it to you so you've got the list and can look at it. It also syncs up with us at Ultimate Headquarters so that if you have a question or a problem, we can see this data and we can provide some feedback on problem solving or answer specific questions you might have. So make sure that when you put the foam up, you get the best benefit out of it to tune your room and really make it sound great. And then of course there's also a social component to this, where there's a forum you can go on and upload pictures of your space and interact with other people that are doing it and share ideas. And so that's the way that at Ultimate we're trying to bring the science of sound and make it available and easily accessible for everybody so that they can make their rooms sound great.